Orphan girl adopted by billionaires. Now she's the youngest Harvard commencement speaker. She was abandoned for the color of her skin and adopted by a rich family who didn't share it. The world said she wouldn't belong, couldn't succeed, and didn't deserve the life she was given. But 20 years later, that same girl stood on the most prestigious stage in the world, not to prove anyone wrong, but to prove that skin is not a barrier to greatness, unless we allow it to be. What she said next didn't just silence the critics, it inspired a global movement. Please support us by subscribe, like, and share for more with activating the notification bell. Thank you. The air inside St. Agnes Orphanage was always cold no matter the season. 8-year-old Amara Carter had stopped waiting for the warmth of a family long ago. Most couples came in looking for babies, not older kids, and certainly not little black girls who had already learned how to hide her tears. Amara watched silently from the corner as prospective parents passed her by, their eyes searching for the perfect child, their forever baby. She was used to the sound of footsteps that never stopped in front of her. Her case file was thin. Abandoned at a fire station as an infant. No known relatives. She had no idea where she came from, only where she wasn't wanted. Until they walked. And on a rainy Tuesday morning, 2 strangers arrived at the orphanage in a sleek black car that didn't belong anywhere near this side of town. David and Elizabeth Langford were household names, billionaires known for their tech empire, philanthropy, and their quiet, childless marriage. No one expected them to adopt. But as they toured the facility, Elizabeth noticed Amara drawing alone, with a broken crayon, sketching a detailed city skyline from memory. She knelt down. "Did you draw that?" she asked gently. Amara nodded but didn't speak. David leaned in. "That's Boston, isn't it?" Amara's eyes flickered with surprise. "Yes. Someday. I want to go there." That was the moment, that spark. It wasn't pity, it wasn't charity. It was recognition. 6 weeks later, Amara Carter became Amara Langford. Life at the Langford estate was like stepping into another dimension. Marble floors, private tutors, chefs, and acres of gardens. But Amara didn't feel rich. She felt out of place, as if at any moment the dream would end and she'd wake up back at St. Agnes. Elizabeth noticed the way Amara barely touched her food at dinner. David saw how she flinched when someone raised their voice. They didn't smother her with gifts. They gave her stability. And more importantly, patience. "You don't owe us perfection," Elizabeth said one night, tucking Amara in. "You just owe yourself a chance." And Amara took that to heart. By 12, she was reading college-level books. By 14, she'd taught herself how to code. At 16, she entered national STEM competitions and dominated. But what set Amara apart wasn't just her intellect, it was her voice. Her personal essays, her speeches, her reflections on growing up between two worlds stirred emotions in everyone who heard them. Still, not everyone believed she belonged. She only got in because of her last name. "She's not a real Langford." The whispers followed her like shadows, but Amara used them as fuel. At 18, she earned early admission to Harvard. Not because she was rich, because she was relentless. And when she left for college, Elizabeth cried, not because she was worried, but because she knew the world was about to meet Amara Langford. From the moment she stepped onto Harvard's campus, Amara stood out. Not because of her name or her looks, but because of her purpose. While others partied, Amara built. She founded a mentorship program for foster youth. She organized campus-wide forums on race and privilege. She interned at policy think tanks and built apps that connected underserved students to scholarships. But most importantly, she spoke. Her first viral moment came during a freshman forum, when she responded to a classmate who dismissed systemic inequality as exaggerated. Amara's words were calm, sharp, and devastatingly articulate. The video hit over 2 million views in 2 days. "She's the voice this generation needs," wrote one commentator. "She makes you listen," said another, Harvard noticed. By her junior year, Amara had already received offers from 3 global think tanks and was a finalist for the prestigious Rhodes Scholarship. But it was her senior year that changed everything. Just weeks before graduation, The university president made a surprise announcement. For the first time in Harvard's 388-year history, our youngest ever commencement speaker will be a 22-year-old woman who was once told she'd never make it past age 10 in the foster system. Please join me in welcoming Amara Langford. The news went viral overnight. The day of commencement was unusually warm. Over 30,000 people filled Harvard Yard. Cameras from every major news network were positioned to broadcast the ceremony globally. When Amara stepped to the podium in her crimson robe, the crowd quieted. Her parents sat in the front row, David holding Elizabeth's hand tightly. She took a deep breath, looked out over the sea of graduates and guests, and began. 12 years ago, I was the girl no one wanted. 8 years old, abandoned, unseen. I had no idea who I was or what I was capable of. All I knew was that I didn't belong. And then a family, who didn't look like me, didn't come from where I came from, decided I was worth loving anyway. They didn't save me. They believed in me. That was enough. This isn't a story about charity. It's about potential. About what happens when someone, anyone, is given the chance to rise. I didn't come to Harvard because I was adopted by billionaires. I came because someone finally said, "You are enough as you are." And that voice became louder than the doubt in my head. Her voice cracked only once when she turned to her parents. "Mom, Dad, thank you for choosing me, even when I couldn't yet choose myself." There wasn't a dry eye in the crowd. The clip of her speech reached 10 million views in 24 hours. Celebrities, world leaders, activists, everyone was talking about the girl who went from orphan to Ivy League icon. After graduation, Amara didn't rush into fame. She turned down a book deal, declined a reality show pitch. She focused on her purpose. She launched the Langford Initiative, a global foundation that connects orphaned and foster children to educational opportunities and emotional support systems. Within a year, her programs were implemented in 5 countries. She became a sought-after speaker at the UN, at the White House, in classrooms and boardrooms. But she never lost the humility of the girl with the broken crayon. One evening, years later, Amara visited St. Agnes again. The walls were painted, the staff more attentive. A small girl watched her from a distance, much like she once had. Amara knelt down, holding out a fresh pack of crayons. "You like to draw?" she asked. The girl nodded. Amara smiled. "Draw your future, even if no one else can see it yet. Someday, they will."